be doing two quick look-sees, two quick demos that came out. I've been trying to get onto more of a focused work kind of thing as soon as I wake up, but I've been falling behind on my playtime, so I guess today will be a dedicated play day. Maybe. Thank you for downloading the demo. Please note some characters and names will differ from the original. As to be expected. Of course, obligatory first thing, look at the options. Ooh, emphasis please. Oh, they will be emphasized. You just get to choose red or underline. I'll take red. Shadows. Sure. Actually, wait, if performance is an issue, let's do performance. Set confirm. Confirm and cancel controls. Confirm A, cancel B. Language. Yeah, for the most part, I'll take frame rate over any fancy effects. Voice over language, English. Sound, VGA. So far, this sounds pretty nicely balanced. Wait, do we get like a sample as we hover over the cards?
Welcome to Voice of Cards.
Okay, that's fine. Other. Title screen. Subtitles all. License. View license. Set data. Okay. That's good. I was considering having a collectible. I'm still kind of considering having a collectible card element to many. One thing I did do was I incorporated a deck of cards as a weapon.
Good afternoon, or should I say evening, morning. Morning? At any rate, I am the Game Master. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Before we begin, there is something I must tell you. You see, my job is to draw you into this world with my voice and cards, which is why I believe it best for you to play with the sound on. In fact, I insist on it. However, as you can see, my voice is subtitled, so you can always read along as well. Now then, are you ready? Let's begin.
Not bad having the GM introduce themselves.
Welcome to Voice of Cards. You are about to take the first steps of your adventure. Through a realm of sword and sorcery you will travel, battling bloodthirsty monsters as you strive to realize your ambitions.
If I head back, does that just go back one card? Oh, it does. Okay.
I have every faith you will accomplish great things here. I am merely a witness to your exploits. Now then, your departure draws nigh. May your journey be a safe one.
Starts out very Dragon Warrior 1, this room.
This is Castle Advent. Queen Nilla reigns over the kingdom from within its walls. 3 white-clad adventurers have gathered here at the Queen's summons. Present yourselves, O faithful of the Ivory Order.
There's no way you'd be able to do a tabletop campaign like this. The cards would be shifting around too much. It makes me think about deck building games with a card system like this, where positions of the cards matter. You put a card down like north of another card and it means something, or south of another card and it means something else. They're fun, but the cards get shifted out of place over time as the game goes on, and you have to keep realigning them as more and more cards come down and get placed on the table and sort of form the board. Okay. Next objective. Move to the queen. Okay.
I am one of the guards charged with the castle's protection. None shall pass me without permission.
You step on someone to talk to them. And there's the card with the glowing border.
From upon her throne, the queen regards the adventurers. So you are disciples of the Order. The youngest of the three steps forward. She holds herself with well-born grace. I am Winifred of the Ivory Order, Your Majesty, she says. I lead this fellowship. She bows, glancing to her two companions. In response, the stern-looking one inclines his head and brusquely names himself Berwin. The older man is the picture of courtesy as he genuflects and introduces himself as Hedwin. It is these three our story follows today. The queen acknowledges the fellowship with a nod. In a soft voice, she explains her errand. Someone has stolen the royal treasure. I bid you reclaim it. Under normal circumstances, I would entrust this to my soldiers, but I do not wish to spread thin my forces with the recent monster troubles. It seems the troubled queen is judged she can entrust this matter to none but the Ivory Order, beloved of the people and unmatchable in battle. It is our honor to serve you, Your Majesty, and thus the quest falls to the Fellowship. Short of any clues that could lead them to the culprit, however, they press the Queen for further information. The Fellowship asks the Queen what the royal treasure is. The Queen describes a bottle containing a certain liquid. Without it, she trails off, but the desperation in her voice suggests its loss could spell disaster for the kingdom. The Fellowship asks the Queen if she knows anything about the thief. The Queen says witnesses might be found at Nexton.
The name of the next town is Nexton. What if I don't ask about a reward?
Usually, one would expect recompense for this sort of undertaking. As demanding a reward would go against the tenets of the Ivory Order, you hold your tongue. The Queen, however, has already said she will reward the Fellowship with whatever they desire. It seems the royal treasure is just that important. Pray tarry no longer here. I await news of your success. The Fellowship bows and takes their leave.
Clepetus, clopetus. Ding. We got some healing, we got some lightning, magic strike, downward strike, contemplation. You can either cast magic or think about it. Very magey things to do. Light proof. Invincible. And double proof. Wind bolt damage. Alright. Not what I would call proof, but reduction. Resistant, maybe. You got your equips. Nothing in storage. Party. So you can, this sort of suggests you can substitute out a main party with a sub party. Owned cards. A couple of potions. Inspirelixir. was that first bunch? The salve. Restores 10 health. $500 golds. You cannot move. Oh wait, yes you can.
We can waste no time
the,
finding the treasure. Winifred strides toward town.
I was gonna say you can't move with the digital pad, but you can. You don't have to use the stick, and the game will only let you move one card at a time anyway. So it doesn't seem like there's much use in using the stick.
Wait, cries Berwin, blocking Winifred's path. A monster. You dare stand in our way? Edwin scowls at the foul creature. It lunges at the Fellowship.
Very metallic sound as it unsheathes the hammer. Looks like a wooden hammer. Fancy looking dice though. Deal damage. Steal some damage. Generate one gem. Alright, let's try doing that. That does it for battle basics, so there's no damage works. That's about it. That's all you need to know. I like the big status indicator. Add value of roll to attack and deal both damage, or just deal damage. Let's try that. This thing out real quick. So far, no one's taken damage from my attack plus 3 fire damage. The gems are basically free.
Winifred heaves a disgruntled sigh as she smooths her rumpled garb. Showing no signs of weariness from battle, Berwin silently wipes the monster's ichor from his weapon. Edwin inspects the remains of their foe. The Queen spoke true, he mutters, his face masked in contemplation. Winifred gives a grim nod at his words. Mayhap the treasure's theft and the monster's behavior are connected somehow. First things first, the Fellowship needs to gather more information. To Nixton they set their sights.
Okay, you can use the stick, but it's very jerky motion. I'm not a fan of that. It feels jarring. Sure, let's have you explain this. Again, covers HP, apothecary, purchase items, medicines, armor, weapons and armor, and the item shop. Game parlor. Card games? Card games within card games.
Welcome to Nixton, hails a man. The man doesn't respond to any question except to parrot back his original greeting.
Huh. We just get his story.
The Fellowship asks if he's heard anything about the man's eyes widen. He leans close to Winifred and whispers something in her ear. Welcome to Nixton.
What?
I'm too scared to leave town with all those monsters out there, the woman sighs.
With a big knife in her hand.
The man helpfully advises you take the opportunity to purchase equipment and curatives while you are in town.
This is kind of feeling like... It feels like they're doing that thing where they make fun of themselves for doing the old RPG tropes, but they still do them anyway. Mr. Welcome to Nexton. Welcome to Nexton. So what is this character story thing? How do I, where do I look at the character stories? Because it doesn't seem like anything up here will do it. Collection? Is the character story a key item? No? Just talking to them doesn't open anything up here.
Having nothing to ask, you take your leave. How may I help you? The proprietor inquires.
Oh, this is your current gear. Alright. So 15, or... This is nice that they'll show the actual stats rather than just saying something goes up and something goes down if you equip this. I'll just have to buy it to see what it is. We have some cash. But none of these looks particularly interesting. Bring in defense from 1 to 2 digits is kinda interesting. Ring of protection. Bind equip. So you're the healer, right? Let's protect the healer the most. Adventurer's attire. So I could get another ring of protection. You're pretty well geared out to start.
Will that be all? The proprietor asks.
Already bought and equipped. So that card, those cards that say you've unlocked the necessary requirements to get the character story is useless because I can't look at their story. Unless something like select does it. Nope. R and ZR zoom in, L and ZL zoom out.
A woman sits hunched over by the side of the road.
Another nice woman.
Upon catching sight of the Fellowship, she calls out for their aid. She's sprained her ankle and needs you to take her to the nearby apothecary. Winifred rushes to her and helps her up. Berwin lifts the woman onto his back, and the Fellowship sets out in search of an apothecary.
You can jump over to upward-facing terrain curves. Okay. So just quick travel with the right stick. That's nice.
You arrive at the apothecary. After taking a curative, the woman begins hopping up and down. Nothing holds a candle to Ivory Order medicine, she beams. She turns to the Fellowship, her eyes widening in surprise. You three. It seems she's only now realized the Fellowship are disciples of the Ivory Order. The woman takes each of their hands in turn, thanking them for their service. The Ivory Order is famous for providing medical supplies throughout the realm, and indeed the wider world. Every smile the Order brings to someone's face makes Winifred proud to be a disciple.
Flip side story. Ah, there we go. You can read special stories about the characters and enemies among your collected cards. Progress through the adventure and defeat myriad enemies in your path to collect every special story. View your collection, yes. So let me look at these unlocked stories. Characters? Aha! Alright, so what's your deal, Mr. Welcome to Nexton? Not really much of a story. Doesn't tell us anything about why he only says welcome to Nexton. Average man. He wants Senpai to notice him. So none of the backsides of the cards are available, except I'm guessing Mature Woman, because the demo specifically told you that her flip side story is available. Oh, maybe not. So she's sick of the abuse of her husband, so she brandishes a knife everywhere she goes.
The woman begs the Fellowship for their autographs. I know there's nothing to worry about with disciple. Upon asking, the woman says she was a strange creature, she says. Nothing but bones, and it clutched a bottle of medicine as if its life depended on it. The man claims he saw a suspicious someone. He didn't get a good look at their face. The Fellowship thanks the man for the useful information.
Someone's skinny.
Apparently, there's a monster lurking around the outskirts of town stealing medicine, and only medicine. Rumors claim the monster fled to the west. Thanks to the information gleaned from the townsfolk, the Fellowship is all but certain of who has stolen the royal treasure. The first clue was the Queen's description of the treasure, a small bottle containing a certain liquid. Then there's the bony figure seen fleeing town, the skeletal monster clutching the bottle. From all that information, the Fellowship distills the thief's true identity. Realization strikes Winifred. The monster made of bones, Hedwin. Erwin nods in agreement, as if to say, another sage pronouncement. Winifred clears her throat, proclaims that the Fellowship shall head west, out of town, and walks off.
So we got the exit of town. We've got the entrance way up there and the exit way down here. I mean, it's not unusual for a town to have more than one entrance and exit, but it is unusual in games.
You make your way to the inn. Thanks to a royal decree, you're allowed to stay the night for free. And you're not about to refuse such hospitality. The party leaves the inn feeling rested.
Standard RPG in sequence. Sleeping heals everything. Let's see, I don't have much money to play with. I got an upgrade. Well, it doesn't really feel like much of an upgrade, just bringing some stat up 2 points. So we can store up to 10 at a time. Just choose one. I don't know if I can do a whole game of this. Kinda charming just on its own.
Let's not go there just yet. I haven't quite finished the story for that section, you see.
I feel like this will get kinda grating after a while.
Let's do this.
Attention to what gems are on there. So this costs 1. See how well it does. Not liking the, you see 3 treasures, but you get to pick 1. Alright, so just try not to go past the trees. That'll be the barrier, I guess.
The Fellowship moves westward, only to be unnerved by the sight of a human figure moving through the trees. The presence of large packs suggests a traveler.
This reminds me of Crimson. Shoot. It was on the guild package. I think it was was made by Level 5, or it was, Level 5 is the big prominent name on it. It was made by a bunch of indies that sort of gathered up small or small game campaigns and released them under Guild 01, under the title of Guild 01. And Crimson Something was one of them, and it played like a tabletop RPG with little figurines. This feels like the card version of that. The Guild 01 game. Shoot, now I gotta look it up. They had like figurines and dice rolls and tabletop sensibilities. Guild 01 list of games. In Japan, I think they all got a retail release, but in North America, they were all distributed as single campaigns. Crimson Shroud, that's the one. Released alongside Liberation Maiden. Arrow Porter and Weapon Shop de Omase, and I bought and finished 3 of those. Liberation Maiden was made by Grasshopper Manufacturer, I believe. And I wonder if that now ties into the Sudaverse as well. Or if it's just Grasshopper Manufacturer's property without Suda's input. But yeah, Crimson Shroud. With it plays out like a tabletop campaign. Figurines, dice, and little, not exactly diorama, but yeah. That one was made by Yasumi Matsuno, the guy who made the original Tactics Ogre way back on the SNES, the Super Famicom days. Hot enough for you?
I beg your pardon, but did you catch sight of a monster fleeing west? Winifred inquires. He gives her a puzzled look. There's nothing out there. I suspect you might find your quarry. The Fellowship exchange glances and nod as if to say, the traveler hoists his packs, suggests the Fellowship speak to the fisherman on the western shore, and takes his leave.
Kinda nice that they have this, I guess, procedural terrain generation. With procedural seeming terrain generation. You can just stick terrain cards beside each other and have something vaguely resembling a landscape. But yeah, like it's charming at first, but I could see it getting grating after.
Don't hold back.
Might be too much. Too many gems to spend. Although, you might as well spend them if you got them. It looks like you can't save them up from battle to battle. Where did the 5 come from? So there's 1, 2, 2, and 4 damage. So I'm guessing the 1 and 4 are added to make your 5, meaning that your regular wind damage is 4. But then why not just do 4 plus 5? Why have it be 1, 2, 2, and 4? Unless that defensive 3 plays into it somehow. Really? That was a fight for the ages? If there was a visual indicator of how far you could go in a direction before the game will block you. Boink! And an enemy.
And fight.
He seems so unimpressed. Battle. Wow. Goblin's enemy story. Alright, let's look at that. Oh wait, not characters, monsters. What's this thing called? It's just called a furball. Boink! Oh.
The Fellowship comes upon an anchored ship. Close by, a fisherman of exquisite physique hauls a net out of the water, his muscles rippling. This is no time for lustful reverie. Winifred races to his side and asks that he give the Fellowship safe passage aboard the ship. That vessel is cursed, the fisherman mutters, trembling. Night after night, it leaves port without a soul aboard, headed I know not where. Come morning, it is once again anchored here. This, to the fisherman's mind, is the result of a curse. His head drops into his hands. With but a single dispeller, I am certain I could lift it and sail away. Alas, the Fellowship find themselves without any dispeller. They resolve to return to Nexton and find some.
So here's where we use our fast travel, right? Zoop. Yep, you can jump over. Using the right stick. Muscle man. Scroll sideways. There's kind of a delay before the game gives you control of the game gives you... There's a delay before the game gives you control after you just made a command. You can't just make a command and then another one. You have to wait for the ceremony of the game giving you back control after showing you the results of the last command, which is kind of annoying.
An innocent-looking young boy accosts the Fellowship. Want to play a game with me? He asks expectantly. In this parlor, you can play cards. The child rambles on, wheedling you. I'll give you this if you play with me.
A dispeller, huh? Is it a monkey paw? How to play. Texas Hold'em. I only have one to remain in my hand. So anything that the other player discards, you can use. So you can have 3 sets and 1 card saved to the next turn. Same numbers. Each have 3 names. That. So 2, 3, 4. Say you'll have to discard one of the sets you already have, so discard the one with the lowest points, right? Unless you can make them even better by adding to them or something. Ah. So you could do 8, 2, 3 or 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4 is worth more. So we need to get above 17. Replace our 3-3 with a 2-2, or replace our 2-2 with a 3-3. This is worth 4 points. This is worth only 3 points, isn't it? Let's get rid of this one. Select the rules. Cards 1 to 8. There's only one set of rules to pick from. Shuffling 2 cards. Alright, let's see what we got here. 3, 4, 7. I don't have any cards that make a set, so I'll just keep the 7. Wait, no. Discard the 3 and the 4. So we can do 4, 5, 6. Can't speed things up. 777. Let's do that. The little card on the right shakes, so if you press A when it's not your turn. Or R, or L, or ZR, or ZL. Just 3 and 3. All I've got is 8 and 8, but that makes a set that's more valuable than one I had before, than one of the ones I had before. Get rid of the 3, 3. And 7 don't work. Get rid of 2 and 3. So if you do A, 2, and 3, which will give you 6 points instead of 4. Or 2, 3, and 4. Oh, okay. I guess you're not playing optimally for this first game. Yeah, definitely not. You're getting rid of the 8. Now, if I get a 6, and I do get a 6, 6, 7, 8. So 3, 4, 5 is my least valuable, right? 9, 10, 11, 12. And 7, 7 is 4, 7, 7 is 21. 8, 8 is 16, so yeah, this is my least valuable one. So 6, 5, and 4 is 15. 6, 7, 8 is of course more valuable. Yeah, this is 15, and 8 and 8 is 16, so I have to get rid of this one.
Thanks for playing, the boy squeals.
Squeals?
He hands over the medicine bottle as promised.
Display. That's what we needed. Alright, let's get out of here. Add skills. And then you can get a multiplayer game. So it's kind of nice that you have a single player RPG with a multiplayer component. Although that alone isn't going to sell this game to me.
The fisherman snatches up the concoction, so delighted that his pectoral muscles begin twitching. The fellowship politely ignores this fact. He opens the bottle and proceeds to douse the ship.
Level 7.
Are you ready to set sail for the cave? The fisherman asks. All right then, just let me know when you're ready, he says cheerily.
Might as well try to uncover more map tiles while we do. Enemy appears. Roar!
Rout the enemy.
Started blasting. Right outside of town, too.
Don't hold back. A bizarre rock appeared. It seems primed to explode.
These are the rock bombs from Dragon Quest. Dragon Warrior.
The bizarre rock transformed into an aqua rock. The only way out of this fight is through it.
Okay, that's new.
Rout the enemy.
Let's try some light damage. 0. Fire? I'm guessing it'll resist, but then again, this might be one of those games where fire beats water and water beats fire. Lightning? 6? There we go. Got some EXPs. Some new spells too. Alright, level 8. So maybe we were at the level we needed to be. Let's go back to the boat. Covering the map tiles on the way. I figured I was level 1. I like games where they give you success. There's an enemy up here right before where you're trying to go.
Rout the enemy. Let's shove off then. He beckons you aboard. The Fellowship arrives at the mouth of a dank cave, its damp, rocky expanse threatening to swallow them. Monsters could come pouring out at any moment. The fisherman has anchored the ship in the cove. Come back here when you're ready to return to the mainland, he says.
Now the tiles are arranged. It's kind of nice that they arrange the cards in different ways, depending on whether you're on the overworld map or in a dungeon or in a town. Keeps things from getting too stagnant too fast. Feeling samey everywhere you go. Be nice to display what they're weak against once you discover it. Because I am not good at remembering that kind of thing. Magic staff. Equipment. Mage. Magic staff. Cha-ching.
Rout the enemy.
Showing? But the spell criticals have an extra visual effect. It's kind of nice. Be nice to see more RPGs do that. Event.
The door is shut tight. You spy a keyhole on it, suggesting the existence of a corresponding key. this.
Light versus undead. Yep, its weaknesses. Antidotes are nice. Probably should have picked some up in town rather than getting lucky with them here. Once that poison hits, you'll be sorry you didn't buy any when you had the chance. A simple key. Zelda-styled dungeon keys. Looks like you can only jump so far. 2 moves in a dark dungeon, or a knight's jump.
The door before you is shut quite tightly. It appears to have a keyhole. The simple key may be of use here. The Fellowship slides the simple key into the keyhole and turns it. The lock opens with a thunk.
What is this? Ah, stairs. I want to flip over all the cards first.
Let's do this.
Might need that curative, that fruit-looking thing. But I don't need another key
An
for this
iron
one.
door towers before you. It has rather conspicuous handles.
Huh. Choose a card to hold the, but guess not F.
Berwin pushes the massive handles against the door with all his might. Berwin gives the door a roundhouse kick as his foot connects. The door trundles to the side. So it was one of those sliding contraptions.
So you can kind of cheat on a decision by pressing and holding A.
Something leaps out at the Fellowship from the darkness. Winifred deftly parries the attack with her staff. Edwin looks fondly at Winifred, only to have his reverie interrupted by Berwin's cry of, "It's coming back."
It's attacking again.
Don't hold back.
Probably be a better translation. This makes me think of, well, it makes me think of tabletop RPGs like I'm guessing it's aiming for. But it also makes me think of like when you're playing a tabletop game.
The Fellowship approaches the chest, only for a voice deep as an earthquake to echo through the cavern.
When you're running a tabletop game, you want each fight to mean something. You're not just going through and fighting like random encounters of like one skeleton, then two skeletons, and one goblin, then two slimes, and then a goblin and a slime. You're not doing that kind of thing. You're usually fighting like if you go into that kind of like your first encounter is a group of goblins, it's something like maybe 10 goblins. Like the first one will step forward, and then maybe like 2, and then 3, and then 4, but it'll all count as one encounter. And that'll be like the one encounter you have for that whole session. And then at the end of the session, you'll calculate EXP. Like the rest of the session will be like before that fight, it'll be the situation in the town that has you going out and hunting goblins. And then afterwards, there'll be some denouement going back to the town and resolving things and figuring out like an extra step that leads you into the next leg of the story. But this is skewing more towards maybe Final Fantasy Adventure, where it's like a game that's simple by design that you can play while waiting at the dentist office or something.
You shall not have. The Fellowship warily eyes their surroundings.
Something that you don't really want to pay too much attention to. Like I could see someone doing a podcast and playing this game in the background while talking about whatever, not even paying attention to the story. Slime building a sword and shield.
Nice work.
I guess I hadn't missed any attacks until this point, so it's bound to happen eventually. +3. I guess that one just regenerates. Built up some gems here. I like it. Oh, all you can do is produce or spend gems. Alright, one more attempt at fire. Would have been nice if that critical hit gone to a different target and takes out the original. Let's go for a full swing on this guy. Nah! Turns him sideways. Someone's gonna need some healing. I feel like for a portable game experience, if that's what they were going for, at least it doesn't seem to be as bad as rolling a natural one in other games. Yeah, like if they're going for the Crimson Shroud experience, they could like if this is Square Enix and Yoko Taro, they could have worked on it a little more. Because Crimson Shroud is a better experience than this. And if they're going for Final Fantasy Adventure, I still feel like they could work on it a little bit more. Because Final Fantasy IV Heroes of Light went for like a simple portable experience, and they nailed it back then.
Winifred neatly steps through the fiend's remains and opens the chest. Inside is what appears for all the world to be an ordinary medicine bottle. At last, the royal treasure is in safe hands once more, Hedwin sighs. Winifred and Berwin nod in a green treasure in hand. The Fellowship exit the cave. exulted. In time, the Fellowship find themselves before the Queen once more. They offer her the retrieved treasure. As reward for the arduous task of returning our prized possession, she is positively beaming and seems prepared to shower the Fellowship with riches, whether they demand them or not. But at that moment, a massive roar, the likes of which had never been heard before, shakes the entire castle. As the roar recedes, one of the royal guard, pale as a sheet, bursts into the royal hall. He struggles to gather his breath. Just now, over the castle, a dragon, he pants to Queen Nilla. A dragon. So the great evil has returned. Queen Nilla turns her gaze to the sky, dumbfounded. So the monster troubles are connected, Edwin says so under his breath, so the Queen does not hear. A profound silence settles over the royal hall, as though they know what must be done in the face of such a crisis. What will become of the land now that the dragon has returned? I'm afraid that will have to wait. We're all out of time for this portion of the adventure. Don't you worry. We'll continue the tale another time. I look forward to our next session. Until then, I bid you good day. Farewell, friend.
I'm kind of reminded of, let's see, what was it? I think it was Knights of Pen and Paper, which was an indie, um, an indie RPG that plays like a tabletop session. Kind of. I mean, it still has the problem of needing you to fight like random encounters, and that kind of takes away from the tabletop session aspect, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, being more of a like being an indie game, I can be a bit more forgiving. This is like a Square Enix game, and Square Enix, I want to say they have a reputation to uphold, but I mean, for the past 10 years or more, they've been doing almost nothing to uphold that reputation. I mean, like they turned Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles into a multi-plat cash-in, like a very weak attempt at a cash-in, because it just doesn't play as well as the original at all. They added like cheap production value stuff, voice acting and lyrics to the music, and I think one or two dungeons. So they added some content, which is nice, but they added a lot. Like the move to multi-platform has taken away a lot from the original. Most noticeably, they've added input lag. Um, and that, I mean, the game already had a little bit of input lag, but it was tolerable. Like, you could still mash the button and do combos. Here, it feels like the characters are, there's so much input lag, it feels like the characters are just deciding when they want to do their attacks, and you're just sort of suggesting it to them. But the original game had input lag because it also had a little bit of auto aim. So when you press the A button, your character would do this big wind up, and during that wind up, they would turn to face the enemy, so that when their attack landed, when the hammer came down or the sword was in the middle of its swing, the enemy would look like it would look like they were actually trying to hit the enemy. Um, and it's hard to tell if that's still there because there's so much of a delay. You notice the delay more than anything else. Here, yeah, it just feels like Yoko Taro or Square Enix is just like, let's make a game on as little bit, like, on our portable budget, but let's also cut that portable budget in half and like not even aim for the level of production that the original Final Fantasy Adventure Saga went through. Like not even the Game Boy games. Uh, I would be more compelled to buy the Game Boy games, especially since they're in a collection now, than this. At least as far as this demo shows. No. Mm-hmm. impressed by this demo. Let's hope that a later patch or a later trailer or something gets me to try it again. But for now, I don't think I'll be. I don't think I'll be looking into this one. Actually, what I'll probably do is I'll probably play through Crimson Shroud again on my 3DS, and like this, playing this demo makes me want to play the smaller scaled games. Crimson Shroud for one, Final Fantasy IV Heroes of Light for another, and I may have finished them once, but I've forgotten enough about them that I'd want to play them again. So, like, yeah, that's kind of what this game makes me feel. That's my impressions of this game. I'll probably upload this video to YouTube rather than my usual Twitter, but wherever you're watching, I don't really do impressions videos like these that much. I do regular live streams, well, semi-regular live streams, depending on what my sleep schedule is like. But I will be doing an impression of Unsighted, which was a pleasant surprise. Just going by the title, it didn't seem like it would be much, but then looking at the trailer, it looked like a very compelling game. The only reason I did this one first, I did this one while downloading the demo for Unsighted. I realized that I still have this demo waiting for me to play it, and I thought, well, I wasn't really expecting it to impress me based on the first look. I get the impression that people who are into Yoko Taro's work, or people who buy anything Square Enix no matter what, will be into this. This doesn't seem to appeal to people who have followed Square Enix ever since it was Squaresoft, and who played Final Fantasy Adventure, or the original Secret of Mana, or I've been saying Final Fantasy Adventure when I meant Final Fantasy Legend. Final Fantasy Legend, Final Fantasy Adventure, if you've played both of those, like, you can get them now if you haven't played both of those, you can get them now in the Saga collection. Final Fantasy Legend was originally called Saga in Japan. It seems like they've named it back to Saga for the English release of the Saga collection. Final Fantasy Adventure was the original Sword of Mana, Adventure of Mana, Secret of Mana 1, or Secret of Mana 0. That is, Secret of Mana 1 being Secret of Mana on the Super NES. And, yeah, that's available on the Collection of Mana, which is also available. Both of those, the Saga Collection and the Collection of Mana, are available on the Switch. The Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars. I feel like it's one of those games where you just want to watch a video of what the big twist is or what the big ending is. If you don't want to put up with 40 hours of slow, what is that, like, peace going on cards and flipping over cards and waiting, like, you have to wait before you can issue your next command to the game. And this doesn't feel like a game that's meant to be played. It looks like a story that wants to be told, and the game is holding the story back from being told by putting it into a game format. Like, it starts out like a typical adventure, but, you know, like, I'm not a fan of Yoko Taro's work. I'm guessing there's some big existential twist that happens, like, right after this, and that Yoko Taro fans will know this. I do not. There's probably some hint in the gameplay that you caught that I didn't, because, yeah, I'm not a Yoko Taro fan. But, we'll see what happens when someone starts tweeting about the big twist or something, months down the road after this game has come out. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll probably be, I mentioned this, I'll probably be doing my Unsighted impressions next, whether you see it on YouTube or Twitter. So I hope to see you then.